The census was handed down to us by the authors of the Constitution. Since 1790, it's been the perseverance and commitment of census workers that led to the great event of 1902, the creation of the United States Census Bureau. These visionaries laid the foundation for great accomplishments. Today, the U.S. Census Bureau is the international leader in statistical science, cartography, and data processing technology. On our 100th birthday, we celebrate the achievements of every census worker, starting in 1790.
I've been charged with taking account of the good citizens of this vast new nation. They are suspicious of me. My mission is to carry out the orders of the United States Constitution. I take care in presenting my credentials as a United States Marshal. They began to understand how I was an instrument for democracy. If the goal is government by the people, there needs to be an accurate count of the people.
The 1790 census clerks tabulated the results by hand. The new government was eager for the results.
President George Washington's arrival was anxiously anticipated. I, Thomas Jefferson, as Secretary of State, am responsible for reporting the results of the first United States Census. These figures prove our newly independent nation to be a populous and important place. The President and I agree, despite the challenges, the census is an invaluable undertaking. This is America's great constitutional mandate.
As the nation expanded and the population grew, census numbers grew in importance and variety. The census gathered manufacturing statistics in 1810 and agriculture and mineral figures in 1840. By 1850, census work was complex enough to justify the creation of a census board, headed by Joseph Kennedy. A decade later, the nation went to war.
The Civil War put unique demands on our office. My team became immediately invaluable to the war effort. We created the first population density maps and statistical reports for the War Department.
After the war, the nation's job was reconstruction. Census data provided a backbone for bold government plans. Kennedy became the first census superintendent to recommend the creation of a permanent statistical bureau. Congress dismissed his suggestion. Francis Amasa Walker followed Kennedy as superintendent of the 1870 and 1880 Census Office.
I fought in the Civil War, wounded in battle in Virginia. But it was in Washington where I would win and lose the toughest battles of my career.
Mr. Speaker and esteemed members of Congress.
Like Kennedy, I could not persuade Congress to establish a permanent Census Bureau. But I did manage to launch sweeping improvements to the whole census machinery.
Walker's first goal was data collection by experts. No longer relying on U.S. Marshals, Walker required individuals to submit a lengthy application and take a rigorous exam. This was the first time women were permitted to compete for the job.
Current census charts as well.
I quadrupled the number of enumerators and tripled the size of the Washington clerical staff. We tallied double the amount of census data. Yet we still fell behind the government's demand for information. A technological genius came to our rescue.
First letter is A and M.
I remember the endless hours spent in that stifling schoolhouse.
Then again, you're in deep trouble. Now, Kevin, would you please leave her alone? And that's enough out of you.
I had no patience or mind for spelling lessons.
Herman, what is that? Give me that. Are you working on infernal math again? What in the world? We're doing this.
I was solely interested in solving the most complicated math problems. More than once, my fascination with numbers got me into trouble.
Oh, this is dreadful. And you haven't even written your name on the front of this page.
But no one could stop me from fulfilling my destiny. When I finished college, the U.S. Census Board recognized my engineering talents and hired me in the summer of 1879. The census wanted to create a machine that could tabulate census returns, but there was nothing like it in the world. It was on the train that the idea came to me. I noticed that when the conductor took the tickets, he punched out a description of each person: male or female, light hair, dark eyes, large nose. This made the ticket theirs alone. This simple method of recording the characteristics of individuals would be the inspiration for my invention. 9 years later, my tabulating machine did in 3 months what would have taken the census 7.5 years to tabulate by hand.
Though miraculous, the technology could not do away with the staffing challenge the census had endured every 10 years. In 1890, thousands of new census clerks had to be trained from scratch. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of immigrants poured into America, changing the nation's statistical profile more rapidly than ever. The 1900 census struggled, but the days without a full-time federal office were about to end. The census started with simple population counts and gradually grew to reflect all aspects of American life, including business and the economy. In 1902, our new era began.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Theodore Roosevelt.
For the sake of good administration, sound economy, and the advancement of science, the Census Office should be made a permanent government bureau. This would ensure better, cheaper, and more satisfactory work in the interest not only of our business, but of statistic, economic, and social science.
It's been a century of rapid growth and great progress for our nation. Changing faces, growing economies, technological advancements, bringing us to the information age. Through it all, The Census Bureau helped the nation make decisions that shaped every corner of our society. And thanks to the innovative census workers and leaders of today, the Census Bureau will meet every challenge of tomorrow.